Imagine turning down a role that would have made you $200 million. That's exactly what happened with number 3 on this list. Meanwhile, number 6 rejected a part in a film that went on to win major Oscars. Regret? Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Leonardo DiCaprio as Dirk Diggler? It almost happened. Back in 2008, DiCaprio admitted that he turned down the starring role in Boogie Nights, the same role that made Mark Wahlberg a star, in favor of doing Titanic. At the time, DiCaprio wasn't sure about working with Paul Thomas Anderson, who was still a relatively unknown director. He later told GQ, "Boogie Nights is a movie I loved and I wish I could have done it." Madonna isn't one to dwell on her choices. She usually owns her decisions, no matter how controversial. But when it comes to The Matrix, even Madonna can't help but admit she made a mistake. On The Tonight Show in 2021, she revealed that she turned down The Matrix. While Madonna didn't confirm which role she passed on, it's likely she could have been Trinity. And just to twist the knife, she also mentioned turning down Catwoman in Batman Returns and the lead in Showgirls. While she regrets missing out on Catwoman, I'm pretty sure she dodged a bullet with Showgirls. Matt Damon might not talk about his regrets often, but turning down Avatar? That still stings. In 2007, James Cameron offered Damon not only the lead role, but also a deal that included 10% of the film's gross. And with Avatar becoming the highest-grossing film of all time, that means Damon missed out on a potential $200 million payday. Damon admitted that while the money would have been nice, his real regret was passing up the chance to work with Cameron. Apparently, The Matrix was the movie nobody wanted. Brad Pitt also turned down the chance to play Neo, a decision he later poked fun at. "I took the red pill," he joked in 2020, referencing the movie's iconic choice between knowing the truth or staying blissfully ignorant. Pitt doesn't dwell on it too much, though, adding, "If I didn't get it, it wasn't mine." And as if The Matrix wasn't turned down enough, Will Smith also passed on playing Neo. In a 2019 YouTube video, Smith confirmed he rejected the role in favor of starring in Wild Wild West, a choice he's been regretting for over 20 years. He explained that during his meeting with the Wachowskis, their concept for bullet time didn't make much sense to him, so he passed. In typical Will Smith fashion, though, he turned it into a joke, saying that he would have ruined it. When asked if there were any roles he regretted turning down, Denzel Washington didn't hesitate. C7N and Michael Clayton. In fact, Washington admitted that Michael Clayton was the best material he'd read in a long time, but the idea of working with a first-time director made him nervous. As for C7N, it's unclear which part Washington would have played, either the veteran detective or the rookie, portrayed by Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, but it's likely the reason he passed was the same. David Fincher had only directed one film before, and that was Alien 3, a total disaster. Josh Hartnett was on the verge of something huge when he turned down the role of Batman in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. Hartnett admitted that he was so focused on avoiding typecasting that he passed on the opportunity, a decision that would haunt him. After Nolan cast Christian Bale as Batman, Hartnett realized just how big of a mistake he made, especially when Bale was also cast in Nolan's The Prestige, a movie that Hartnett really wanted to be a part of. To make matters worse, Hartnett's then-girlfriend Scarlett Johansson starred in The Prestige, adding salt to the wound. It's almost impossible to picture anyone but Reese Witherspoon as Elle Woods, but that's exactly who Christina Applegate could have been. Back in 2015, Applegate revealed that she passed on the role because it felt too similar to her character from Married with Children. She didn't want to get stuck playing the same type of role and thought turning it down was the smart move. Spoiler, it wasn't. Applegate later admitted it was a stupid move, but said Witherspoon was the perfect fit for the role. Bill Murray is legendary in Groundhog Day, but it wasn't always meant to be his role. Michael Keaton was actually the first pick for the sarcastic weatherman stuck in a time loop. But when Keaton read the script, he just didn't get it. He thought the character felt too much like the glib, sardonic types he'd already played, so he passed. Keaton later admitted that he didn't realize how special the film was until after it became a hit. Michelle Pfeiffer had no shortage of iconic roles she could have taken on, but one of her biggest regrets? Turning down The Silence of the Lambs. Jonathan Demme, who directed Pfeiffer in Married to the Mob, had her in mind for the role of Clarice Starling from the start. But Pfeiffer couldn't shake her unease with the dark ending, where evil seemed to win. She passed on the role, and Jodie Foster stepped in, eventually winning an Oscar for the part. Halle Berry could have been behind the wheel of that speeding bus in Speed, but instead, she passed on the role that ultimately made Sandra Bullock a star. While promoting John Wick 3, Berry admitted that she was offered the part first but didn't take it seriously. In her defense, when she read the script, the bus didn't leave the parking lot. After seeing how Speed took off, she couldn't help but feel the sting of regret. Bruce Willis had a shot at starring in Ghost alongside his then-wife, Demi Moore, but he just didn't get it. The idea of a dead man solving his own murder while also helping his grieving girlfriend? Willis thought it was a bit too far-fetched. He famously told the New York Times, "How are you going to have a romance when the guy's dead?" Little did he know the movie would go on to become the highest-grossing film of 1990. Reflecting on it later, Willis dubbed himself a knucklehead for passing up what turned out to be one of the most iconic roles of the decade. Eddie Murphy turned down a lot of major roles, but Who Framed Roger Rabbit might be the one that stings the most. The idea of mixing live action with animation didn't sit right with him back in the late 80s, and he wasn't convinced it would work. Years later, Murphy admitted he felt like a fool for passing on the role that eventually went to Bob Hoskins. Looking back, he called himself an idiot for not seeing the potential in the film, which is now considered a groundbreaking classic.